Flick here on Feel the Spin, OutQ, Sirius 109, XM98. Thanks for hanging out with me on this fine and lovely Sunday. You picked a good time to visit because Matt Alber is here. Now, you've no doubt been enjoying Field Trip Buddy, which we've been playing quite a lot here on Feel the Spin, and it's nice to see you.
You too, Larry.
Are you doing all right?
I'm doing so. Every time I come to New York, I'm in a better mood.
Are you? Why is that? What is it about New York that you like?
Because I don't have to drive. And
where are you from?
I live in L.A.
Oh, ill.
Well, there's lots of great things about it, but
really,
I love being here because I just get to be, out.
Just kind of walk. Where are you from originally?
Well, I grew up in St. Louis.
Oh, St. Louis is a great place.
I love it there.
It's a really nice place.
They got the best pizza.
They do have the best pizza.
You know about it.
I've been to St. Louis a few times, yeah.
Well, then have you had the frozen custard?
No. I'm diabetic. I'm not allowed to have frozen custard.
Okay, we won't talk about that.
Okay, thank you. Well...
I'll eat yours.
Okay. Matt Alber has a full-length CD that if you haven't heard yet, you need to get your hands on. It's called Hide Nothing. And how does it feel to have these songs out there for people to latch on to finally? Because the advances have been circulating for a minute, and there's been that gradual build to the big release. So
it feels really good.
Yeah.
Just last night I was walking around with a buddy. It's about 11:30 or so, and we were at a convenience store. I was buying a Coke, and this guy was kind of looking at me, and I thought, well, what's he up to? And he just walked right up to me and grabbed my arm and said, I love your songs.
Aww.
I just have to tell you. And I mean, I've not even done a show yet in New York here, so it feels really good to know that people are enjoying them.
Good for you. Good for you. And so the songs are pretty personal, though. Because it's a very gentle record, and the songs are very, very intimate. Do you feel a little exposed that the songs are there for anybody to just pick up and dissect? And
yeah, that was the idea, though. I made these in my bedroom. I sat at my computer and with a really close friend and made them at home. So it's really nice, though, because they're my secrets, and I don't know. I think we might all have the same secrets.
Well, we have a lot of the same, I'm sure, but you seem like a really shy guy. Is that a fair assessment?
I don't know. I
you
definitely
seem shy.
think
You're blushing even just at the question.
Yes.
So and what I'm getting at, though, is when you're, because I'm a very naturally shy person, and as much as I like the idea of telling my secrets, the act of it scares me.
So that's why you have to do it in a song. when you're doing it behind an instrument with music coming out,
is it easier?
It feels like that's the way you're supposed to tell them. So,
really?
Yeah.
And so when did you realize that was the way you were supposed to tell them?
Well, I think when I first started writing, I was realizing, I'd spent my life singing in choirs and singing other people's music and learning how to sing and learning musicianship, and then when you take the leap, out of the arc of singers, and now you're the one, singing your own songs, and you realize this is what it's meant to be. This is what I was supposed to be doing all along. So it just feels right when I'm sitting there and singing about, especially like Field Trip Buddy. That's a feeling that I've had since I was 9 years old, sitting next to that kid in the symphony hall.
And it's a song that every time I play it here on Feel the Spin, people respond to very, very strongly to, because I think because it's not about, at least from my interpretation, and I think a lot of others, it's not about hooking up. It's not even about knowing what the feeling is. It's just having the feeling of wanting to be near someone.
Yeah, it's butterflies.
Yeah,
and I love that feeling.
It's a nice feeling. But how old were you when you had those feelings for the first time?
I think I was 9 years old.
9 years old.
Yeah.
And did you have any idea at all of what it meant?
I felt like I kind of knew it all along.
Really?
I was never confused about who I wanted to kiss. So,
really?
Yeah. And I guess I'm kind of lucky that way, because I know a lot of people don't have that experience.
Well, because for me, it was like I knew, but it was my subconscious guiding me until I was a bit older. Were you always were you raised in like a kind of a, I don't want to say pro-gay, because that sounds very political, but in an environment where there were positive images of gay people around you?
No, unfortunately, yeah.
Because I was going to say St. Louis,
Yeah.
some people are very, kind of loving and open, and others not so much.
Yeah, I did not have that experience actually. I had to come through a lot of self-realization about, I grew up in an Assembly of God church, where they just the particular church I went to was just, they had very specific ideas about what it was to be gay, and they were all wrong. So so it took me a while to get rid of those. But I always.
So this is interesting. Matt Alber with me here on Feel the Spin. You never had confusion about who you wanted to kiss, but you were raised in a church that told you that that was wrong.
Yeah, it was horrible.
At what point was there a point where the lack of confusion created a kind of an inner either conflict or kind of lack of love for yourself?
Yeah, I think what happened was that you can try to undo who you are, but it's not going to work. So eventually the truth just comes out, and I had to make a choice. Do I sit in misery about who I am and try to change into what they think I should be, or do I realize, hey, I'm okay? And it's tough to say you're okay, because that means you walk away from your family, your network, your whatever cultural heritage.
And so was your family not keen on who you were?
They've had a really, really long journey through it, and both of my parents I'm very close with now, and they both fully accept me. It wasn't always there, I had a long time to deal with it, and when I came out to them, they had not as long as I did to deal with it. So, yeah, but it was tough. But what was good about it is that instead of hiding from them, I was out to them, and we went through it together, and so now I'm really glad that I didn't shut them out of my life.
How old were you when you first told them?
Let's see. I was a junior in high school. I was 17.
Wow, really young.
Yeah, and I had a boyfriend.
You had a boyfriend at 17?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I said, I always knew. So.
Yeah, but always knowing it and actually being able to enact it are two really different things. Especially in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that in the Bronx, New York, where I was raised.
Oh, you probably could have gotten away with it.
Well, you'd be surprised. But anyway, so that's really, wow.
Yeah, so it was like, it's funny though, once you take a step away from all that untruth about you, you realize, hey, the world didn't collapse. And, and then you start standing up for yourself. And I came out to my dad, and I said, it's the hardest thing to tell you, but Dad, I'm gay. And he looked up at me, and instead of hitting me or pushing me, he had these huge tears in his eyes, and he just gave me this huge hug, and he's like, we can figure this out. And I was like, man, this is just, all these years thinking, gosh, this is not what I was expecting.
That's cool.
And then immediately it was like, and I have a boyfriend. And you got to be okay with that too.
Because once you open the door, you might as well walk through it,
yeah,
right?
I'm like, what's it? So, but I really feel like, I'm really happy about the way things are changing, but I hope we don't forget that there are so many teenagers out there that still deal with that fear.
Absolutely.
Like we have legislation and we have this movement going, but this is on a family level,
Absolutely.